Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts, and boom indeed, with BTC getting a little bit of a bounce to the upside off that daily support level at 42.4. We talked about the 236 idea on the Binance chart. Let's hold ourselves to the flame yet again. We've been nailing it every single day. We were talking about this 236 needing to be reclaimed at 42.490 for us to like the long idea, but we didn't put out two projections. We put out a single projection to the upside, and we were getting resistance at that 44.145 level. And let's see what that is about. Shout out to everyone here as we go into high block capital. What is high block? Well, people lock their liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss, and we get to see where those crispy characters are. So let's do it now. Booyah. Okay, so we're going to take a look. It's in a book of Reading Rainbow down into the 1 minute time frame here, and we're going to read the liquidity like tea leaves to try to find where the draw is on the liquidity. The three pillars of trading: liquidity, math, and momentum. Anyone telling you otherwise is a liar. So if we go to 8.58 billion in long liquidity imbalance here, we could retrace a little bit down into these breakout traders. 145 million down at 42,971. There's a lot awfully thick band of liquidity, although in this retrace this could get a equilibrium bounce of that half. This consolidation range could be it for the draw and start to go up to the higher time frame. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've been watching the channel, you will know that if we expand our vision to the higher time frame liquidity pools, the external liquidity, if you will, we will see that there is higher liquidity up above. On the 7-day, it's even Steven, but if we head to the monthly, you will see what I see here. Do you see what I see? Up at 45.5, there are double-digit liquidity pools to the tune within this range of 50 or 60 billion dollars up to that 45.8 region for that higher high effect. That's why we're calling it up to here and then possibly fatiguing, because you have to know the market sentiment and know the context of the market you're in for today. And we have some final GDP for the US dollar and unemployment claims. So that red folder will give a little bit of a reaction, let's say, on midweek reversal Thursday, December 21st, the winter solstice. Fun fact, did you know Christmas is basically something from the pagan rituals Lo Saturnalia, and it was a week-long festival of the harvest of the 21st of December being the winter solstice and the shortest day of the year. The people thought that basically that the sun was dying, because the 21st was the shortest day, then the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, 3 days of dying on the cross, the Southern Cross, then the 25th. It gets a little bit longer, so they thought it was the sun's birthday, hence the star on the Christmas tree. And this is Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the celebration dedicated to Mitra, identified as the Roman god Sol or the sun. Solis Invicti was an ancient cult originating in Persia. Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, birth to the invincible sun. That is Christmas coming around the corner. And you get some fun fact while you're here. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we can see here. Do we see a continuation to the upside here? We do have that liquidity pool on the monthly. That potential draw up to that region is percolating my interest. Let's go ahead and throw on the Momo. Link in the description for more. MomentumMaster.com, or .info rather. MomentumMaster.info. Scroll down to features, toggle at your leisure. Read about the trend cloud, the baselines, the stochastic array, and more. Dynamic alerts to your phone, etc., etc. And yeah, let's go see what we're doing. So we're talking about this cloud bounce idea. I needed to be sold on the idea by coming above this 236. We did get that 236 acceleration within the Asian session. So we were talking about it down here and saying coming back above, and we got the cross-up event of the hourly here. One interesting thing to note which caused the pause here was we were getting some nukes at that 786 and daily resistance level. So we had a nice little break and slash take profit region. If you followed the projections being made, the angle is exact too on the path that we foretold. So let's go through the daily descent. We were talking about the 3-day. So let's see how that 3-day candle closed, shall we? So we're going to just take a look. So the 3-day cross down event is not to be ignored. We talked about that, not ignoring that over and over again, and we said that even if it does drop down, it will eventually come up and possibly do an extended but eventually does play out. So beware of those crosses on the 3-day. So even if we get up to here and this turns into a massive sell-off wick, we would not be surprised. Okay, so that is the 3-day time frame. We closed it still beneath the baseline, so the resistance idea is still available. We're not making a higher high closed in just yet. So even if this turns into a sell-off wick, doesn't really mean much. We could be at the last hurrah of sorts. Coming to the daily time frame, the daily time frame did reclaim these both baselines, and we could set up for a baseline cross up of the daily time frame. The money flow came back to even Steven levels after being slightly beneath the RSI, as we talk about that disparity giving a bit of a boost to the asset. If we go to the 22-hour time frame, money flow coming beneath the RSI, suggestive of a continuation bounce idea. If we go to the 12-hour cloud is holding, and we were getting that subtle support and basically that hidden bullish divergence. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look over here, you will see that there is this disparity between the money flow and the RSI here, as we were coming down, making a lower low and making this disparity on the money flow. Lower low on the money flow, higher low on the price action, hidden bullish, and we got that burst up. We were talking about that disparity too. When the money flow comes beneath the RSI, we are likely to get an injection. So there's still an injection of money on the table, perhaps for the 12-hour with that subtle support. So the money flow still beneath the RSI, suggestive of coming up to our region here. If we go to the 6-hour time frame, the interesting thing we circled on the 6-hour is like, what do we have here? Was this thinning of the cloud. We talk about this cloud idea and the thinning of the cloud and the curvature of the expression of the momentum. There's a lot of people that say indicators are not real, but we prove time and time again that they are. And this curvature before the move and this curvature before the move is suggestive that those people are liars or just trying to upsell you on their mentorships, which is the cool thing to do now with all these smart money concepts, the highfalutin support and resistance folks. So if we go to the 4-hour, 4-hour still has some money flow beneath the RSI, suggestive of a continuation idea. This was also something we saw with the reclaiming of the cloud potential. So this cloud was curving, and we were saying this could come up here as well, which is why we called for upside, not downside. And we were calling for downside here. We've just been calling it every day of the week. Not a single bad call this week. And all the way since here, basically the 10th, we've been nailing this entire oscillation. All right, so let's go to the hourly here. Hourly getting this push up off of the cloud. We're getting this nukes as we fatigue on the daily and other time frames. This nuke is 7 time frames of information. You can read about it with the stochastic array. It's the opposite side of the rocket. So this idea of whatever we go and reclaim up here could be a massive pullback. You never know. And that is basically it. We're getting a cross down event of the hourly. I'd like to see some acceleration / bounce off the cloud. Looking at the liquidity pools here, we talked about this idea of 42,971. 42,971 is down here. 42,971. Just about there. Let's just say 6.2, whatever. Down, reclaiming this entire candle / bounce off of the cloud. You have a A, B, C down to here, and then possible reaction off of that. If you take this impulse to impulse idea here and basically switch this to equilibrium, that'll put you in the equilibrium zone. If you look at the golden pocket, you could come all the way down to the 618 and reclaim this wick down here. Is there some liquidity at 42,751 to justify it? Let's go see. 42, yeah, I would say so. There is a $104 million pool at 42,727. So the 727 puts you down at that 618. So it's possible we could come somewhere in this region on this hourly cross down and then possibly get the news play off of this 618 bounce. All right, so we can delete this 0.5 level. We did do a bullish bounce off the 0.5 of that impulse. So coming back into the 618 of this latest impulse for a continuation slash order block idea. I mean, it's all the same thing. I mean, we had order blocks inside a Momentum Master since the beginning. So you just turn on the order block finder, boom, there you go. You got some order blocks down here, which we bounced off of. You got some bearish ones that we inverted up here. So you got all sorts of tools that we don't even advertise that are in there for you to take a look at. So let's go ahead and look at the expanded market. Let's go to the Dixie. Dixie came up into some gap here. So we came and reclaimed this after the 618 bounce here. Are we coming into some gaps for a continuation idea leading into basically this level, the 102.309 region, possibly getting a burst up into these regions up here. There's a gap up here that has yet to be recovered. Overall, if we go to the total 3 and total 1, you're having some bounce on total. The total market cap for crypto, we were talking about getting above the 706. It's been something we've been butting our head against, so we'd like to see it burst up at least to that 786 level alongside Bitcoin going up to that region for that last hurrah. If we look at the BTC dominance, we are seeing this dominance play. We were talking about possibly getting above the cloud and inverting it, and we did that. So we came up, closed the candle, and broke the super trend. So this is bullish for the Bitcoin dominance. So we're starting to see this shift now on the 12 hours. So this 12 hours starting to make a curve here. If you look at this, getting thin and coming up, so it's possible we start to do a fake out on that time frame for the momentum to shift. Okay, so we made it above that cloud. 6 hour, we were talking about this curvature here on the 6 for the Bitcoin dominance to rise. Now it's starting to cascade over to the 12. We had this daily one over here, I believe. No, I think it was the 22. What was that? 22. So the 22 hour was similar to the 12, I think. So we had that dominance bounce for you too, the cloud reaction point. And USDT dominance. Do we continue higher on this Bitcoin dominance play? We were talking about this rejecting an inversion of the cloud coming down here and possibly accelerating as people enter more into trades and then coming up off of that level. And sure enough, it did. So overall, the overarching narrative is starting to curve here on the USDT dominance. So whatever kind of double bottom you're trying to create here, you could be creating some sort of double bottom event to kind of come back up into this region over here. You have some fair value gaps slash bearish order blocks, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's some liquidity voids over here that you could come back to. So yeah, we could be coming back to that on the USDT dominance at some point. So this coincides nicely with the rejection of the cloud that we come down, kind of recover this wick perhaps, and see that rise in BTC up to that region. All right, we're welcome to take a look at Matic. I remember somebody left a comment, Steven left me a comment to look at Matic for that sleeping giant effect he was saying. Sorry to miss that last time. So Matic, let's go ahead and take a look at Matic Polygon. So this kind of came down in a deep retrace, not even respecting the levels at all. Where did we come down to here? We went all the way to the 786 for a deep retrace, went all the way to the 886, almost negated the entire concept of this retrace idea. Let's go ahead and clean it up here and take a look. We were talking about the cross down event. What was that on? I don't know, maybe the 6 or the 12, where we're saying we don't play against the clouds and the trend. Like when you get ambiguity, that's not where I like to play. I like to play when everything lines up and crosses up down there. That's my kind of play. And then this 236 holding was the line in the sand. We always talk about the 236 for the trend-based fib levels. For it to come up to this level, it would need to respect that, which it did not. It disrespected this, so we can delete it. But that's where you have your lines in the sand drawn for your projections, ideas of upside, if you have them. So we're going to start cleaning this up a little bit and giving you fresh perspective on Matic here. Okay, so we still have this deeper daily impulse that we're kind of retracing after a double top here. So we haven't even come back. We came to the equilibrium level. So essentially, as BTC rises and the dominance rises, this is why you need to know the dominance cycle here. So pulling up the dominance chart, when the Bitcoin dominance increases and Bitcoin increases, you're like, why are my alts not increasing alongside Bitcoin? It decreases when the dominance increases. So knowing what the Bitcoin dominance is doing first is pivotal to the alts. So seeing this rise up and reclaim the cloud and this potentially come up to this region is not a good play for the alts right now. It looks like Bitcoin is going to steal the show. So as Bitcoin comes back even to this level here, perhaps, like this is kind of a daily time frame fair value gap zone that is trying to come back into. So it could be coming up into this draw or even coming to this deviation up here. I don't know why this is not accurate here. It should be like that. So yeah, it could be coming up into these standard deviation levels. We're gonna just remove that. No, we can leave it there. It's just a record of what we saw in advance. But yeah, that's what I would be looking at alongside Bitcoin. That's why I look at Bitcoin first. So Bitcoin wanting to go up alongside the dominance means the alts are going to have a little bit of a struggle bus going on. And if we go to the cryptobubbles.net, you still have some. You have Immutable, Stacks, Sol, Injected Protocol, IOTEX, Render. You still have Phantom, Beam, a lot of others taking off here. So let's go see what Matic can do. Is there a play for Matic? Structure is kind of ugly to me, double toppy, and you negated this cup and handle slash support level, that 236 we were talking about. So at this point it has negated this structure it formed here, so it looks like it could come retrace down into these regions. So coming back into a pocket here at the 618 of the larger structure here, and you could basically take this regression trend, click it twice, and see that we are in a channel, and beneath that channel kind of coming lower perhaps. So people taking profits on Matic. Also this daily cross down event, we're barely holding the super trend on the daily time frame, and we are beneath the cloud. I trade with the cloud, so the cloud being against a long idea here. Same with the 12-hour and the 6 is also that was what we were looking at, was the cross down of the 6. So the cross down of the 6, and you're seeing this curvature to the downside. So as we go lower into the time frames, basically this cloud still not showing signs of abating just yet, still seeing some possible downward spiral to this level for Matic. If we look at the liquidity for Matic. Let's go ahead and do that for you. Let's see where the liquidity lies. All right. Then we'll take 1 or 2 more requests and bid you adieu. I'm still slating for more upside for Bitcoin, and the dominance suggests that you're going to have a struggle for some of this. If you look at the, what is this? Sorry, let me turn it to max liquidity. So for Matic, it looks like on the 1 minute time frame, you're creating some liquidity for some short grab. 110 million short imbalance here. Looks like you could accelerate down into these longs that are accumulating down here at 73 cents, nearly 74 cents. Kind of sweep that up one more time and then possibly come into these shorts. Let's go ahead and look at the higher time frame for Matic. I think it does show that. So we can, the older tokens do have a larger time frame view vantage point. So you are creating a nice short liquidity pool to grab into at some point. However, at the immediate target, it looks like you have some down at that 74 region we were talking about. So on the higher time frame, lines up with the lower time frame. It looks like the draw is not complete. We might be seeing it come down to that 74 cent region, and that 74 cents doesn't really lines up with that equilibrium zone. Yeah, it kind of lines up with equilibrium, but I'd like to see it go a little bit deeper for my interest to percolate at this point, because the structure has given some rounded top, high resistance for longs at this point, because this is rounded, right? If you were to invert this, this would look like a double bottom, right? And then you would look for a retrace and then try to take this up off this cloud. So if this were a long idea, you would look for this to occur, right? And then you could see this curvature coming like that. So what's the difference really? You could basically take it down to this region and then wait for some sort of reaction here for Matic. You did get a nuke on the 12-hour, and I don't play against those things. They are swing ideas that you don't want to swing against. Don't swing against the tides. All right, so let's go ahead and see what you want me to look at, or if anything, and then we'll bid you adieu. BTC potentially coming down here, but eventually making its way up to that region. There is, let me go ahead and remove that. So coming down to that 42.98 region, perhaps grabbing some of those long liquidity guys on the hourly time frame, watching how the hourly cascades in these zones in a nutshell down here, and then seeing if it gets a little bit of a reaction. And yeah, let's go see what the chat is up to. Honestly, that's the only indicator you need. Oh, I love to hear it, Spragadocious. I love when people say that. So yeah, I mean, it's like the thing says, you could be your own guru. You don't need me to tell you what to do. You need key levels, of course. Can't take these blind. That's why there's no buy sell signals, but it gives you deeper insight into the market. And of course, like, you don't have to have the history on. If you want to clean it up, it's up to you. I can handle the bits of information, but maybe not everyone can. So you can clean it up a bit, and then now the history is off, and it shows you just the latest one. So it shows you where all the latest happenings of the overbought and oversold are. All right, so we're looking for a little bit of a retrace here for BTC on the hourly, a little bit of a reclaiming of this vector perhaps, and bounce maybe at equilibrium of the 618. There is some 50x leverage guys that they could fake out before they go into the unemployment, kind of fade into London. Watch for a reaction in London down in here, and see if you can find a re-entry idea down in this region at the 618 at 42,751. Okay, And then if we can get an acceleration up into these regions, that 45K hit on the higher time frame pools up here, you have that 45.5 level, that 60 billion plus up in that higher time frame pool to hit. So we're getting this acceleration of this hourly reset of the baseline cross down event slash rejection of the daily slash rejection of the 786 slash nuke inbound. So watching this come down to here, and then at that point perhaps reacting off of this and going up to here off of some news manipulation event, and then who knows. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll